Okay, let's see if the stream starts this time. So far, so good. It's showing really decent KBS rate. I'm over 200 KBS right now, which is great. Let's see what that looks like.
Um, I'm getting audio from it.
Oh, yes, there we are. And the screen looks great on YouTube's side. Awesome
And I'm checking.
sauce.
I heard you on this. I didn't hear me.
But you didn't hear yourself?
Oh, now I'm
Let's see, I can hear you. I didn't see if that was working at all, though.
the video is not.
Bear with us, everybody. We're still making sure things are set up here for us.
Oh, okay. I think it's starting to work.
Awesome. I'm going to play our intro video here for us.
Yep, keep that going for 5 minutes, and I'll share, and we'll get. Copy.
Yeah, I just paused our recording on the back end because I was getting about 20% skipped frames on that. So that will hopefully free up some of our lag issues. But thanks again for tuning in to Cookies Enabled, everybody. Hopefully things are coming through good for us. We've been having all kinds of technical issues this week. First, we were having audio lag and repeats. Hopefully that is not the case right now. And it also was giving us some issues with the internet yesterday. I know pretty much the entire East Coast was having issues with Google and the main Facebook groups and whatnot as well. And I'm not sure exactly what the cause of that was, but that was a huge issue for our delay yesterday. And so far, things are going pretty good for us today. Our internet seems to be much better, and we do have a good connection. So things should go a little smoother for us today. Now, obviously, I am William Caldwell, and I am part of Cookies Enabled, and I am the creator, I guess you could say. We talk about science and technology on this channel, as well as history and how they all kind of correlate together. Our first video was over 5G, and it's not dangerous because there is a lot of false information out there about 5G on the web and how dangerous it is. So we did a video on not only explaining where all this dangerous science came from, but also gave you the true science behind 5G, how it works, where it came from, and the evolution of our wireless technologies are all in that first video. Our second video, which will be coming out next week, hopefully this coming Monday on February 1st, will be the history of PC, which we will talk a little bit about today as well. And I think the first thing we wanted to talk about in this little our live feed was going to be more of just current news. And right now, I know the Samsung Galaxy S21, S21 Plus, and S21 Ultra have all been released and have apparently been getting rave reviews from what I've read. I am currently on the Samsung S10 and can't wait to upgrade. Was gonna jump on the S20 bandwagon, but decided to wait to the S21, and I'm really glad I decided to wait. I definitely think I'll jump on this bandwagon and probably get the Ultra. So hopefully our camera feeds will get a little better. And sorry, I'm laughing at the kitty removal. But yeah, so I'm hoping we can get some feedback from you guys on if you like the new Samsung design, if you prefer something a little more like an iPhone 12 design, with it more of a matted, metal-based finish, and kind of like the old school iPhone 4s and 5s. They kind of went back to that old design, and I definitely don't hate that. I think for what you're cramming into these phones now, it's getting more and more into PC technology that's being crammed down into really a screen and that you can put in your pocket. So that's always awesome. Now, our second topic that we wanted to talk about today was the SpaceX. Now, I am unfortunately not a rocket scientist. I love space. I love all of the science news that has to do with rockets and whatnot, but I am unfortunately, again, not a rocket scientist. And Jaeger, unfortunately, or fortunately for all of us, is a rocket scientist and definitely understands a lot more of that side of science for me. So he's always my go-to when it comes to SpaceX launches, and I'm going to pass it off to him here to talk about a little bit about that, since we have some awesome news from SpaceX lately as well. So.
Well, I wouldn't call myself a rocket scientist, but I love everything space exploration related, astronomy. I think I've only missed a handful of all of SpaceX's launches ever since the Falcon 9 started going up. So a little obsessed, I would think. But no, we're coming up possibly as early as tomorrow. The final, hopefully, they're going to launch SN9. SpaceX is going to launch. It's the newest version of their Starship prototype, which we're hoping will do a 12.5-kilometer test launch tomorrow, which is going to be interesting. And it's
Sorry, I was just making sure I had everything going correctly here on my side, and I was just double checking my feed.
That's looking good so far. But no, we're going to have hopefully a solid test launch. I'm really hoping it goes off, and it'll just go once again go up, and then kind of reminds me of the whale from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, great
movie.
That
movie when they
absolutely.
It says, "Oh, that's the ground. I wonder if it wants to be friends."
It's the ground. What if it wants to be my friend?
That's what happened to the last one. It did make friends with the ground a little too hard. It went boom. SpaceX whimsically calls it a rapid unscheduled disassembly, which I think is just clever. They like to name things.
It is very clever.
He names his ships after sci-fi topics. The Falcon 9 was named after the Millennium Falcon. The two drone ships are named after two ships from one of his favorite sci-fi series. I forget the series. There's Just Read the Instructions and I Still Love You.
I Still Love You. I love that name.
The fairings are caught by two boats. One of them is called Mischief, and the other one is Mystery and Mischief. It's a lot of fun. But you see that with other places too. Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' attempt, they just did another good launch. I think they got up a little higher than the SN8 test, but they had a test dummy called Mannequin Skywalker, which I thought was quite.
Yep.
So I think this year we're going to see a lot coming with SpaceX, Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic, and we're going to see some pretty cool things happen this year, I'm pretty sure. So
I think we're really going to see
if we have a good
big push.
We'll try to do a stream of some of the big ones. Maybe we can just go live as we watch it. I know a few other channels do that, but if we are both available, if we know what's happening, we'll pop that in. Maybe we'll have the official SpaceX feed in the corner. We should be able to pull that up pretty easily, so we can watch. We can answer questions with any of you guys, and just see what happens. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm excited.
Oh yes, very cool stuff, and we'll definitely keep an eye on SpaceX for sure, because it's definitely going to be something that I think will be evolving over the years. Especially this year, they've had, like you said, so many breakthroughs, and there's so many small private companies jumping into the space race again. I think it's really going to start picking up steam quite a bit. So I'm happy to see where that goes, especially in today's world of technology and science. You can never get enough of space, I feel like.
Especially now, and I'm sure we'll do some episodes on some of that I want to do one on Starlink, which is the satellite internet.
Yes.
There are some things that we can address. There are some criticisms of it, especially from the astronomy world, and we can talk a bit about that. But we'll also explain just how it works,
Oh yeah.
where they're at. I think a few days ago they just launched another batch of bunch of satellites. They do 60 at a time.
Yep.
When we were up north this summer, we actually got to see the stream of them across the sky
Oh, cool.
after they launched. It really you won't see that now
Okay.
because they've changed their satellites. They've put a coating on there now, so it doesn't
Oh, that's
reflect as
right.
much light.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
But before that, like no one will ever see this again.
Right.
Before that, we were out at a bonfire, and I looked up and just holy, you saw a stream of like 20 bright,
Right.
just streaming
Oh my
fast
gosh.
across the sky. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen just looking up. So, if any of you have seen those before, if there's photos, share them with us.
Please do.
But we'll definitely touch on one day Starlink. We've got a lot. We're doing a regular video every other week. We're going to do a chat like this in the weeks between. We're going to have guests on to talk about any of their specialties and anything from
Yep, we've got a couple planned already.
Weather, biology, weather, welding, anything you can think of. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Yep.
If there's anything you guys want to hear us talk about, let us know. Comment section down below on Facebook, Twitter. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Now, moving on to our next topic. I know our next main episode is going to be the history of PC. And this is a long one, unfortunately, because there's so much to cram into this, 15, 20-minute video of computer history, especially getting us all up to current. So one way that I wanted to take a little break from that video is I know a lot of people don't like diving into books and don't want to pull up 8,000 websites to read different things about history. And a lot of people like to watch movies. Luckily for you, most of these stories have already been turned into movies, and we're going to go through that list right now for you guys. So the first movie that you'd really want to start with if we're talking about the history of the PC is going to start with the movie The Imitation Game. And this is really the story of Alan Turing, which again, the next episode of Cookies Enabled is really going to go into the history of Alan Turing, what happened, what he ended up doing and designing. Really, the short end of the story is it's during World War II. The Nazis have the Enigma machine, and the British had captured one of these machines, and now we had to find a way to break it, essentially, and crack it so we could actually read the messages and whatnot. And they were able to do so with Alan Turing's special machine that he built. And again, the movie goes way into depth on not only how they designed the machine, but it does leave a lot of history out about him working with the United States and other countries, not just the British government and Secret Service. And so the movie does leave some things out. It also changes a few things around that just try to play on your heartstrings a little more. And for good reason. Really, the story ends pretty badly. Alan Turing was a homosexual, and back in that time, it was extremely illegal and frowned upon. And it still is in some countries to this day, but not in the way it was back then. So back then, when he was found out, and of course he was working on secret projects, they destroyed all of his computer, setup that he had done. All of his data was destroyed. Pretty much everything he had worked on had either been shoved away into a box or given to the government as a military project to work on. And then they just kind of pushed him off and chemically castrated him, and eventually he ended up killing himself. So it doesn't have a good ending, unfortunately. I have to forewarn you. But it is critical to know that this is literally the beginning of computers. Without Alan Turing building this machine and trying to break the Enigma machine, we would not have the machines we have today. So that's very important to know. Now, our next movie that you'd want to jump to, not book, is a little more uplifting and jumps kind of back into the space race. Since we're done with World War II, everybody's using reel-to-reel machines and vacuum tubes and whatnot for, standard machinery or mechanisms that we had at the time. And I know the Navy and whatnot had used that, but really the movie October Sky is really where we want to jump to next. What that's going to incorporate is the tiny small town mining village that really had this one kid that was super smart, wanted to get to space, wanted to make rockets that could get us to space, and he was successful at doing this in his tiny little mining town, and that movie really shows all of that very well. I always forget the main actor in that one. Do you remember?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know why I never remember his name.
Jake Gyllenhaal plays the kid. The teacher is played by, I believe, Laura Dern.
Yeah, Laura Dern, yep. Yep. Oh my gosh, yes. We will do a dinosaur episode. Definitely just modeled rockets. Yeah. Yep. And that's all shown. Right. Yeah. Pardon me.
It's a feel good.
I'm recommending
movie.
it as well.
You're going to
It's one of
walk
my
away
all-time favorites.
feeling pretty happy.
Oh yeah. So the next movie you jump to from October Sky kind of piggybacks off of October Sky, and that is actually Hidden Figures, which just came out, I want to say about a year or two ago. And I know it's on a few streaming services. I think you can get it on Amazon right now. And I think you have to pay to watch it. Again, definitely worth the money. Same with the Imitation Game and October Sky. They're all on Amazon and Vudu as well.
It came out 4 years
definitely
ago.
look into those. I'm sorry, say again?
It came out 4 years ago. I didn't even realize that.
Wow, really?
2016. I
Man,
thought
it seems like it was yesterday.
Too. Well, this last year was a little long for everybody.
It was.
So.
It was.
There's
Hidden
another
Figures...
episode. We'll be doing a COVID episode. So.
Oh, definitely going to do a COVID episode. So
that's going to be a long one. That might have to be a live chat because we could talk about that for hours.
Oh my gosh, yes. We might have to just do a live chat for COVID, and that might actually be the best way to handle that one, just because there's so much to cover.
Split it up. No, Hidden Figures was really great. That one you saw really what got us to the moon, and
exactly.
What got us to the moon was a group of women who's really, getting that out and really sharing that story, I think, has been really important recent years.
Oh, yes. Yep. Yep. Oh, yes. I mean, like, literally, like, stacks of paper. Like, they're just... Oh, really? Right. Oh, gosh.
Tied to each other with wire. And I mean,
Oh
these are, you could fit 4 on a grain of rice easily, and they had hand woven, either one way or the other, to make a 1 or a 0. It had to be done.
Wow.
Done by hand. It was ridiculously complex, extremely impressive. Today.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, that movie really definitely shows another side of computers. There's a scene specifically where they're trying to get this IBM machine installed with NASA that will help them figure out calculations faster. Of course, the IBM guys that set the machine up can't get it working. And they show one of the ladies go to her local library and she gets a Fortran book and reads it, and cover to cover, and then goes in the next day to work and fixes the machine, gets it working, and blows these guys away, and actually trained these men on how to use the machine. So that part's particularly cool because it actually is definitely a real machine, and that is actually how they did things back then with these stupid punch cards you'd feed into the machine, and if you had one card in the wrong order, the whole thing would be wrong. You had to start all over again, and it was a
And
huge pain.
it kind of echoes the Imitation Game in a way. These are these hidden figures that you didn't really hear about at the time. Alan
That's it.
Turing with his issues. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Is It's hugely fantastic. I mean, these movies needed to come out years ago. Yep. Oh yeah. Which actually leads us to our next video, which would actually be Steve Jobs. And this one, or I'm sorry, not Steve Jobs. Pirates of Silicon Valley. This really picks up where uh, the Cold War ends, and I guess technology is getting small enough and fast enough that now we're starting to get calculators and smaller machines and circuit boards. And so you have the dawn of Microsoft and Apple computers. You have Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, Steve Ballmer, lots of Steves in that movie, and really how they progressed. The best part about Pirates of Silicon Valley is not only does it show you side by side the progression of Microsoft and Apple, but it shows uh, how they worked together for a while, and the struggles that Bill Gates and Steve Jobs had on personal levels as well as with their work lives, and how those correlated. Um, I think that movie is that is true. That is true.
where was that? Was that
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Kent State? Um, in this movie, Steve Jobs is there during the riots.
Yes, he
I
is.
don't know 100% if he actually was or not. I don't know if that
Yeah,
was a
I'm not sure
dramatization, and
either.
we'll have to look into that. Um,
Yeah,
and these two guys tinkering in a garage.
pretty much. Yeah, it really does a great job, and it shows you again that personal side where the Bill Gates is driving recklessly fast and all over the place. He's eating a piece of pizza while he's driving, and his friend is like holding on for dear life. Like, I don't want to die. The bulldozer. Yeah, they were doing bulldozer races, and yeah, they crash that. He gets his mugshot taken. Oh my gosh, yeah. We'll have to put that to the test for sure. So that movie is really a great one, and it's critical, I think, for really explaining the creation of both Apple and Microsoft, where they came from, how they started, where did the ideas come from, and it really hits on some super key points in both Microsoft and Apple history. It shows the war between the Apple team and the Microsoft, or the Apple team and the Macintosh team at Apple, and how they were literally at each other's throats. That was practically ripping the company apart. That was all because of Steve Jobs. And then you got Bill Gates on the flip hand, who's, trying to catch up with Apple, and at the same time, trying to get his software out to everybody. So he not only goes and makes a deal with IBM, but then goes and buys DOS after the fact. And that's all shown in that movie. It is really, really critical that everybody understands that, I think, because honestly, without those critical scenes, you really don't have a good idea of how those companies really survived over the years and progressed to what we have today. So, that movie is only on Vudu right now, unfortunately. I guess you can find it on Amazon, but you might have to purchase it to watch. So
I always watch my movies on YouTube if I get a
Yep.
chance. You buy or rent, it's not even on there. It's crazy.
It's
I
a
probably
tough one
have
to
a
find.
copy lying around on a hard drive somewhere in my parents' attic.
I have it saved on my hard drive because I love that movie. But
Don't pirate
it
movies.
is really hard to find.
Nobody pirates movies anymore anyway, but don't pirate
It's
movies.
true. Yeah, no. And I didn't
Everybody
pirate that one.
did
I
in the
did
early
purchase
2000s.
it, actually, and downloaded the save file. So that way I
Yep.
have it permanently on my drive. So our
Just a
next movie
caveat,
that we want
here
to
at
jump
Cookies
to...
Enabled do not condone any illegal activity.
This
So
is true.
anything we say or
Definitely do
talk
not.
about, do it
Not
safely.
trying to get anybody to go download these movies illegally. That's why I'm telling you where you can purchase them or rent them at legitimate sources. So, there's two last movies that we want to hit on, which are both about Steve Jobs. The first one is called Steve Jobs. No surprise there. And that one is really great at showing more of his personal side. How did he respond to criticisms? How did he respond to Microsoft? How did he respond to a lot of different things? His ex wife or girlfriend at the time, and his daughter. And so all of these are really showcased in the Steve Jobs movie. And I think they kind of push things a little far. Again, some of these conversations are behind closed doors, and it's just between Steve and one other person, so we don't really know exactly if this is by the book how the conversation went or if it's just hearsay. But either way, it's a great way of seeing how Steve Jobs really worked, because it's not what a lot of people assumed him to be like. When you think Steve Jobs, you see him up on the stage with his turtleneck and his blue jeans, and he's super calm, he's super straightforward and to the point. It was not like that on the design teams, and I can pretty much guarantee that. He was very much in your face, very much, by the deadline, get it done now, I need to see results. And you definitely get that feeling in these movies, especially the Steve Jobs one. I really feel like that showcases his temperament the best.
In parts of Silicon Valley too, I think it kind of showed you a bit of their character.
Yeah.
He was a bit of a dick. He really was.
He really was.
He was a visionary. He so many changes. The iPhone revolutionized everything. Apple itself, and because of that competition, Microsoft, they made so many advancements over the years. They're still continuing to, but you really kind of see what these people you might have regarded as heroes, who they really were in some way.
Exactly.
But still, what he did changed so many people's lives. Did you see I think it was a grad student or a graphics designer? They took the Apple logo right after he passed away and slightly modified it. The little cutout bite of the apple, instead of a curve, they made the silhouette of his face, which I thought was really touching tribute.
That would have been cool.
We'll share an image of that on our media. It was just a fun little story. Someone just wanted to do that. So no matter what he was like, changed the world. Bill
which is
Gates changed
awesome.
the world too.
And gotta thank
Hundreds
him for it.
and millions of people out there have changed the world, but when you get some of those giant Silicon Valley moguls like that, the reason we're able to do
Oh
this
yeah,
with you today is because of these people.
it's exactly because of those
And both
people.
of
That's
them, he's
why
on a
we can do all
PC,
of this right
I'm on a
now.
Mac.
I'm on a PC.
I just said,
And here we are. So, and we're great friends. I love Apple products. I just don't own really anything other than an iPhone 4 at this time. That's just kind of how things are. I've always been back and forth with Apple and PCs over the years, so that's really nothing new for me.
I've done the
But
same. I've
yeah,
got
it's
a 2010 or 2012, somewhere in there, Mac Pro, the giant aluminum behemoth,
oh
and
god,
it's still
yeah.
kicking. It's not past what
I
I need.
love those things too. Those
I'm
are
on a Mac
awesome.
Mini now, but that old one, I could plug it in right now and it'd still be going, and
Oh
still
yeah.
decent. For normal day use, I couldn't play any of the major games. I
Right.
couldn't video on it. But for everything else, it worked. The Mac Mini I've got is great. But
Oh yeah.
I've used PCs. I had my tablet before the screen got smashed, and
Oh
that
yeah. Yeah, you
was
were talking about that the other day.
I was so
Oh,
last
I
move.
think the last movie that I did want to mention was Jobs, and this one I feel got the biggest critic overshadow. Critics hated this movie for some reason. I really don't know why. I mean, there's only maybe two scenes in the entire movie that are totally fabricated. Like, there's one where Steve Wozniak is crying with Steve Jobs, and I don't actually think any of that actually happened. I think that was just kind of an emotional replay for the actors, possibly. Um, but what's really key in that movie is seeing how Ashton Kutcher, who's playing Steve Jobs and does an absolutely excellent job. I mean, he looks like him, he sounds like him, he's even got the Steve Jobs mannerisms,
Oh, he
and
really
really
got into that role.
repeats this on screen perfectly.
Oh, you see Ashton Kutcher all the time. Everybody thinks about him from that '70s show,
Yep.
and even there, that sort of comedic acting takes a lot of talent.
Yeah, it does.
The patterns down right, being able to, you know, stay your line
Oh god,
and
yeah.
that beat before the next one. Comedy is extremely hard, from what I've been told. But to go into that sort of a dramatic role, I mean, he had already done the Butterfly Effect,
Yeah,
which
that was a big
was
one for him.
Jobs. You look at an image, he looks just like young Steve Jobs. It's really uncanny. He even lost weight.
Yes.
He could appear extremely gaunt to look like Steve Jobs later on in his life when the cancer was really starting to get to him. Was it a pancreatic cancer, I think?
Yes, I want to say the first
Pretty
time
sure.
it was. Oh no, maybe it was both pancreatic. I think it didn't come back, or was it something else the
Something
second
like that.
time? I can never remember, unfortunately. Poor Steve Jobs had nothing but health problems at the end of his life, and so poor Steve. Unfortunately, they are shown in the movies, and they do explain in all of the movies that we've listed, kind of what happened to Steve
Yep.
Jobs. So,
Pancreatic cancer.
okay,
Yeah.
pancreatic. So yeah,
This
that's what
is
I thought it
what
was.
I do, everybody, when we do filming. We do all of the research that we can, but we sometimes slip up.
It does happen.
If you hear us say anything that's not right, let us know. We can
Yeah,
always
please
do
correct
fat
us.
correction in later videos. But he's over there filming, and I'm watching as he's filming and googling
Oh yeah.
things as let's make sure we got that right. Let's try that again. I mean, I'm sure for a lot of the content creators out here on YouTube, the same sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
I think we probably do it a little bit more on the fly, but that's what
Yeah.
I'm doing here. I'm fact checking, making sure we got dates. Like, nope, start over. It's
Right.
1915, not 1912. Little bit, because we want to bring
Yep.
you the most accurate information that we possibly can on all of these topics. There's so many things
Absolutely.
that people don't understand. There's so many conspiracy theories or just plain
Way too many.
misinformation that nobody realizes. Some of them, they're things that have been handed down from, person to person, and you think it's real, so you realize, oh,
Yep.
no, that's just a story, and you don't even know where it comes from. So in these topics,
Exactly.
we can really delve into what really happened. So if you catch us with something wrong, tell us. It's a learning experience
Yes.
for everybody. This isn't just us up here telling you things. It's it's all about education,
It really
and
is.
everybody has something more they can learn. We definitely do. That's why we're going to be bringing on some experts in all of these different fields.
Oh yeah.
Um, just just to teach you something for the day.
That's the
May-
whole goal, anyway. Now, if you haven't heard any of these movie titles over the years, I'd be kind of surprised. I know Jobs and the Steve Jobs movies did really well. One movie that we haven't seen come out for some reason is a Gates movie. We have not seen really
Stop.
anything
We
that
need Gates.
really goes into that. And I don't know why.
What did Jobs Gates? There was. I'm going to screw this joke up. I know it. But there was something at some point we had lost. I think it was right around the same time we lost Steve Jobs, we lost Bob Hope,
Oh
and
yeah.
someone else. And then somebody says, and then it's like, can anybody check on Kevin Bacon? We just lost Jobs, we lost Hope, we lost something else. Do
We
we still
can't
have
lose
Bacon?
bacon too.
It's one of my
Oh,
favorites.
I
No,
love it. Oh man. Um, the only other thing I do want to mention about Bill Gates is that there is a Netflix series that's called Inside Bill's Mind, and this
Johnny
goes
Cash.
into detail. I'm sorry.
Johnny Cash. We
Oh,
had
Johnny
John
Cash. That was
years
the other
ago.
one that
We
we
had
lost.
Johnny
Yes.
Cash, Bob Hope, and Steve Jobs. Now we have no Cash, no Hope, and no Jobs. Please don't let Kevin Bacon die. That was it. Had to check.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. Um, Crap, I don't remember what I was saying. Well, hello, welcome everybody. Oh yeah. Um, yeah, Inside Bill's Mind was the last series, and this is I think 2 or 3 episodes. I think they're about an hour long on Netflix again. And this shows you what he's been doing after he retired as CEO from Microsoft. Yes, he's still a part of Microsoft. He still goes to the campus all the time and walks around. And I mean, it's his. He can do whatever he wants. But now he's working on the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation primarily, and it really goes into the detail of how that was created, really where he is in that company, because he's actually not the lead in that company. Actually, Melinda is, and so on and so forth. So definitely a good to watch if you've never seen that one. I definitely recommend it. Um,
Yeah,
Again, I really hope that we
I'll have
see
to
a
check that.
Gates movie come out that really shows more of the development of Microsoft. I think the best one that we've mentioned so far that does actually show the development of Microsoft is Pirates of Silicon Valley. It's pretty much the only one that will show anything development wise from Microsoft coming from one little tiny one room office to a giant mega company.
It, you see that at the beginning of, or not the beginning, somewhere in Pirates of Silicon Valley. They wake up for a meeting, and they're just
Yep.
disheveled. They're in a small little office in a little business park, and walk in
Yep.
just it. it
He's like got his hair all messed up and his shirt's all screwed up, and IBM's there like waiting to talk to him about Windows and Microsoft and the software and all this
it's just
stuff,
weird to think
and he's
of
just
these.
like waking up and his secretary's trying to get him up. That all actually
Yep.
legitimately happened. It is documented, and Bill has stated in other interviews that that literally did happen, so not surprised.
Crazy to think. And these stories, that's why I love them, is you see just how the life.
No. Yep. Yes, it did. I would say so. Yeah. Yes, the Razer with the foldable screen. Yeah. Super difficult.
Without it breaking, or how do you hinge it without uh, a crease in it, that sort of
Right.
thing. I think they re-released their old brick just for fun. It's got a color screen. It has Snake. Um, uh, you're seeing a
Oh,
lot of change coming this year, next year, a few years before this. It's been quite entertaining.
absolutely. And we try to get you guys as many sources as possible. Again, I try to keep a very open mind when I'm doing my research, and I definitely dive into those, theories and these crazy spin-offs that sometimes are just so far out there. I'm laughing as I'm reading the information because it's just so not real. It's all just completely made up. But then you've got, your other sources from like Britannica, and the list just goes on and on and on. And I mean, not just Wikipedia, obviously. You've got huge volumes of encyclopedias and Britannicas out there that have all kinds of vast information in them. That's mainly where I start my researches, and I will break off from different sources from there. So you'll see those sources usually listed in our comment section underneath the videos. I know the 5G one, I think it had about 10 different sources for. So if you're interested to where I got any of my data, there you go. And I'll try to keep those on all the videos, just so that way in the future, if I'm saying something that doesn't sound right or whatnot, you can dive right into my sources and figure out where I got that information. So, which is cool. But I think this show went pretty successfully today. We didn't have a ton to talk about, but we just wanted to really get out there and get our live show started and kind of cover some things from PC history. And I think we covered a little more than that. We talked about the S21 and the SpaceX launches as well. Again, we're going to try and incorporate more live shows in the future. I think we're going to try to do one about maybe once a week or once every other week. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted there too. So I am super excited that at least today was successful, and we got our technical
Fourth
issues
time,
worked
we
out.
finally got it working, everybody. It should not have been that complicated. I
Really
did
shouldn't have
find it
been.
a little ironic that a show about technology, we have so many
Oh
issues
yeah.
at the beginning. Yeah, if any of you out there have advice on streaming, let us know.
Little daunting. Yeah, it's going great. No audio. And again, I'm sorry. Yeah, very sorry about that, guys. This video will definitely be reposted on all of our sites, so definitely come and check us out. I also want to give a shout out to my cookie business that I have started, which is Get Good Cookies. And technically they sponsor our channel. The cookies that you see behind the cookies enabled logo are the cookies that you can order. And I try to incorporate them into every episode that we do as well. If you have any interest in the cookies, you can definitely check out the website. It is listed on the bottom of your screen there and will be listed in the comment section below as well. But I just want to really appreciate everybody for tuning in today and sticking around and dealing with all of our technical issues over the last few days. Thankfully, we got them all worked out. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that things continue to go great for us in the future. And I hope to see more of you guys tuning in. If you guys have any new topics that you want us to cover or things to research, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. We will definitely come back and check on them, and I will try to get them into the next live feed as much as I possibly can. But definitely thank you all for tuning in and hanging out with us today, and hopefully you guys have a wonderful, super nice day out there today. And again, hope that we all learned something, and I will hopefully see you guys soon on our regular channel and on maybe our next live broadcast. But thanks again, everybody. And thanks, Jaeger, for tuning in and
Of course.
being part of our broadcast today.